Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Philly.
It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Thursday evening to you, wherever you may be. Dodgers and Phils meeting for the first time this year in a 4-game series. Last year, Dodgers won 5 of 7, including all 4 in Philadelphia. For the Dodgers and the Phils, the last 12 games they've played against each other, they have each won 6, 7 of the 12 decided by 1 run. On the mound tonight will be Zach Greinke, a 4-game winner, but more importantly, whether he's pitching for the Dodgers, for Milwaukee, or even for the Angels, at home, Greinke is 22-2. On the mound for Philadelphia will be young Jonathan Pettibone. Started the year 3-0, turned around to go 0-3, but the Phillies have won the majority of his starts. The Dodgers, as you know, a 5-game winning streak. They last won 6 in September into October of last year, and they'll take the field 6 games behind Arizona. So stay with us. We've got a lot coming up. We've got a great ball game and a whole lot more right after this. By your Southern California Hyundai dealers. Through July 7th, get a great deal on a new Elantra at Hyundai's 4th of July sales event. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. And by Jack in the Box. Try Jack's Big Stack Burger. 2 jumbo beef patties stacked with onion rings, cheese, and pickles.
Chavez Ravine still basking in the glow of that sweep over the Giants. Dodgers have won 5 games in a row. That's their best streak of the season. And welcome in the Phils for the first of 4. Jim Watson, Steve Lyons in center field. The last 2 nights, something happened that should make Dodger fans very happy. Yes, they won, but everybody else in the National League West lost. The Dodgers are still at the bottom of the NL West table. Are they back in the race?
They are back in the race, and you know how I hate to talk about standings this early in the year because, talk to me later on, but it is important now because the Dodgers are looking up on everybody. But think about it. Their last 5 games, they won them all. They've picked up 3 games in the division. They're now just 3 games out of second place. So if you look at it, with 13 weeks to go in the year, all you really have, you don't have to jump back in the race right now. All you have to do is pick up 1 game a week. You pick up 1 game a week as the rest of the season goes on, you end up winning the division by 7 games.
Arizona has already won today. Colorado has lost. The Dodgers are as close as they've been to the top of the division since May 25th. Hanley Ramirez is out of the lineup today. Nick Punto at short. Puig is in right. Ethier's in left.
Wherever you may be, we send along our warmest wishes with the emphasis on warmest here at Dodger Stadium as we open up a 4-game series between the Dodgers and the Philadelphia Phillies. And we welcome back a former Dodger back in, 1974, Charlie Manuel. So Charlie, who has done some wonderful work, he was with the Dodgers in 74 and 75. One of the things everyone always mentions about Charlie Manuel, he was born in a car. So the Phillies and the Dodgers arrive for their first meeting of the year. A little bit surprising that it would happen this late in the year, but they still have all the games to be played, and the Dodgers have one trip going to Philadelphia in August, starting on the 16th. Here's Charlie Manuel's lineup card, and it goes this way. Ben Revere in center field, Jay Utley at second base, Jimmy Rollins at short, and Ryan Howard, the big first baseman, hits cleanup. Dominic Brown in left field. Delman Young in right field. Kevin Franson is at third base. Humberto Quintero is behind the plate, and Jonathan Pettibone on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, of course, will be Zach Greinke. Greinke comes in with a record of 4-2. He is 1-1 lifetime against Philadelphia. He beat the Padres Saturday in probably his best effort of the year. So Greinke with that unbelievable record at home of 22-2. Ready to go to work. And the leadoff man, Ben Revere. Revere takes a breaking ball strike, and we are well underway. One thing about Revere, if he gets on base, he is trouble. He has stolen 20 bases, runs exceptionally well, as the numbers would indicate. The temperature right now is 78 degrees, and Greinke comes right back with another breaking ball and has the jump on Revere. No balls and 2 strikes. Ben Revere has a half a dozen bunt singles, but with 2 strikes, the Dodgers feel he won't try that. The strike 2 pitch on the way. The left-hand hitter takes strike 3 called. So Revere punched out on 3 pitches, and the ball game is underway. Take a look at the Dodgers with the leather. They shape up with Gonzalez and Schumacher, Punto and Uribe. The outfield of Ethier in left, who has not played left field since 2008. Matt Kemp in center, and Yasiel Puig in right. A.J. Ellis behind the plate. Hanley Ramirez had played 8 straight. Since he has that hamstring history, they decided to give him tonight off. Chase Utley hitting .266. Marvelous player. Has a look at a strike, and the count 0-1. One of the fine players produced by UCLA. And of course, this is a big night for the Bruins. The championship winners of the College World Series. They were honored before the game. Utley waiting, and the strike 1 pitch on the way, and Chase takes off the plate, and they count 1 ball and 1 strike. Utley started off the year on the DL. He had a strain of the oblique around the rib cage. He was off for over 4 weeks. He has over 200 home runs in his career, and the 1-1 pitch is taken under the hands. Ball 2, 2-1. So Matt Greinke, 1 ball, 1-1 count against Philadelphia, so he hasn't seen them at all, nor have they seen much of him. In checking the pass to see what's going on now, Greinke working on Utley, and the 2-1 pitch on the way is swung on, whacked to right, going back as Puig at the wall. He's going to play the carom, but he drops the carom, and into the standing goes Utley. So a 1-out double to right by Chase Utley, who continues to swing the bat well and torment just about every team against which he plays. He drilled that thing, and for Puig, he knew right away, let's play the carom, and then he tried to make a bare hand grab, and he couldn't do it. So Utley is at second with 1 out, and the batter will be Jimmy Rollins. Certainly Jimmy Rollins no stranger to anybody following the game, hitting .257. Rollins has been hitting either 1, 2, or 3 all year, and he lifts one back a third down the line. In foul ground is Uribe, and makes the catch for the out. So Utley has to hold on the foul ball. 2 down, and Ryan Howard coming up.
Batting next, first baseman number 6, Ryan Howard.
Ryan Howard, the steady first baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies. Howard last year had a home run, 3 RBIs against the Dodgers, hit .333, 310 career home runs, and he has 10 so far this year with a .272 batting average. In the last 2 weeks, Howard has been hitting over .350, and for that matter, in his last 19 at bats, he's had 9 hits. So Big Ryan checks in. Greinke out of his set, a look back at second at Utley, now to the plate very high, ball 1, 1-0 the count. So Ryan Howard, boy, what a fixture he has been at first base for Philadelphia. He was the Rookie of the Year in 2005. He was an MVP in 2006. He swings, fouls it away. So Howard up there, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count, 2 down first inning. Howard, among other things, back in 2008, hit 48 home runs. That was the most by a Phil since Mike Schmidt did it with 48 in 1980. So Howard commands great respect. In fact, Schumacher is playing a shallow right field. The 1-1 pitch is lifted to left field. On the move is Andre Ethier, crosses the line, makes the catch. It was ruled a fair ball, so he saved a run. No runs, 1 hit. A man left at second. At the end of half an inning, no score. Base with his double. Now we'll take a look at the Dodger lineup. Skip Schumacher opens up at second base. Yasiel Puig in right field. Adrian Gonzalez at first, and Matt Kemp hits cleanup in center field. Andre Ethier in left. A.J. Ellis behind the plate. Juan Uribe at third. Nick Punto, the shortstop. Zach Greinke, the pitcher. On the mound, Jonathan Pettibone, 6'5", 200-pounder from Yorba Linda. He's the son of a former big league pitcher, Jay Pettibone. Jonathan ready to make his first pitch to Schumacher, in for a strike, and the count 0-1. It's interesting, his father played in Double-A with Charlie Manuel, the manager of the Phillies. So for Charlie, he has to really wonder about the passage of time. Here he is managing Jay's son. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pettibone comes back, and the pitch very high, ball 2. So far in his young career, Pettibone working on Schumacher, hitting .253, and Pettibone has struggled in his first 25 pitches. The 2-1 pitch misses, ball 3, 3-1. In fact, the opposition in his first 25 pitches, they're hitting .393 against him. His ERA in the first 3 innings well over 5. He misses outside, though he walks Schumacher, and that will bring up Yasiel Puig. Let's take a look at the Phils defensively, and they shape up. Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Kevin Cranston. Then you have Dominic Brown, Ben Revere, Delman Young, Roberto Quintero behind the plate, and Jonathan on the mound. So a walk to Schumacher, and it'll be Puig, Gonzalez, and Kemp coming up in that order. Puig hitting .435, coming off a 3-hit game. He's had 2 or more hits, 13 of the 22 games he's played in. Pettibone delivers, comeback, a hit off his foot. Caroms to Jimmy Rollins, and they get a fluke force play. Oh, Puig almost took the shoes of Jonathan Pettibone, and it turns out to be a force play. It goes 1-6-4. That ball went so high in the air, it was hit that hard. And for Pettibone, he's fortunate that he didn't get hurt. Rollins had to wait for the ball and quickly got it to Utley just ahead of Schumacher. So a very rare force play indeed. Otherwise, that's a base hit up the middle. So a 1-6-4. Puig is aboard, and Schumacher on a fluke is out at second base. So now Puig at first, held on by Ryan Howard, and the batter is Adrian Gonzalez. Pettibone out of a stretch. Takes a look over at Puig, comes inside and misses. 1 ball and no strikes to Adrian. No score, bottom of the first inning. Puig takes a cautious lead at first. Pettibone out of a stretch. Takes a look over there, and that comes to Gonzalez. And off-speed pitch drops in nicely for a strike. Came up there at 84. Adrian Gonzalez 2 for 4 yesterday. He's homered in consecutive games, Saturday and Sunday in San Diego. Up there now 1-1 with 10 home runs. Pettibone delivers, ground ball, base hit into right field. Puig around second, on his way to third. The throw to third is not in time. So Gonzalez, a ground single into right. Puig advancing to third, beating the throw by Delman Young by plenty. And the batter will be Matt Kemp. So a couple of the numbers certainly add up. We told you that Jonathan Pettibone struggled in the first couple of innings, and otherwise he'd have had a walk and 2 hits, except for the fact that Puig's shot hit Pettibone's foot and it turned into kind of a fluky force play. So first and third, 1 out. Matt Kemp checking in. Gonzalez hitting solidly in that number 3 slot, and now Matt hitting cleanup. Hitting .251, 2 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Pettibone, runners at the corners, 1 out. Right-handed delivers. Matt takes on the outside corner at the knees for a strike, and the count 0-1. Todd Tishner is the plate umpire, charged with the responsibility of balls and strikes. Todd's in his 4th year. Out of Nebraska, lives in Kansas. His first major league game involved the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. That was back in 2007. He was the third base coach. All right, Kemp waiting, 0-1 the count. No score, bottom of the first inning. And the strike 1 pitch to Matt Kemp. Ground ball over third and down the line. So that scores Puig. Adrian Gonzalez will be stopped at third on a double by Kemp. And the Dodgers were out in front 1-0. And it would have been more, except for that comebacker off the foot of Pettibone. Andre Ethier will be coming up. Scoring easily on the double is Puig. Great effort by Kevin Franson to try and knock the ball down, but he couldn't do it. So still second and third now. 1 out with first base open. Andre Ethier checking in. Andre playing left field. Boy, he's been moved around. First center, right, back to center, back to right, and now tonight, the left fielder for the first time since 2008. First pitch to Ethier, fouled away. 0-1 the count. Andre 1 for 4 last night. Hitting .268 against right-handers. So Ethier trying to keep it going. Dodgers lead 1-0 in the first inning, and trying to extend the winning streak to 6. 0-1. Infield back. They will give up a run to get an out. Another foul ball off third, down the line, and out of play. Jonathan Pettibone, we told you, a local boy from Yorba Linda. He passed up a scholarship to Southern Cal to sign for the Phillies. He went to Esperanza High School in Anaheim. Right-hander ready, and the strike 2 pitch. Ethier takes up around the chin. 1-2. Pettibone, fastball, slider, He has a cutter if you're a left-hand hitter. I'm sure you're going to see that. And a changeup. 3-3, but remember the Phillies have won 8 of his 12 starts. The 1-2 pitch, very high, though 2-2 the count. I would think he's from Yorba Linda, and his father being a former professional pitcher with Minnesota. As we said, his dad played for Charlie Manuel way back in Double-A. The 2-2 pitch coming up. Pettibone delivers. Fastball very high. On deck, A.J. Ellis. So Pettibone, 6'5", 200. 22 years old. He'd be 23 the middle of July. He was on the DL early. Now the right-hander's 3-2 pitch swung on. A drive into right center field. Revere on his horse. It's off the wall. 1 run will score. Here comes Kemp, and he will score on a long double by Ethier. And the Dodgers are out in front 3-0. So Andre Ethier puts the slug on Pettibone. There'll be a little meeting at the mound trying to put Pettibone together. It's amazing how accurately some notes are. They're like little gold nuggets, especially when they pay off. The first thing we told you about Jonathan Pettibone is the fact that he has so much trouble in the first 25 pitches. Well, so far he's been roughed up here in the first inning, and the total number of pitches for him, 17. So Jonathan Pettibone, and could very well, let's face it, be fighting butterflies. Kid from Yorba Linda, pitching at Dodger Stadium. So Ethier now waiting to be picked up. In the inning, Schumacher walked. Puig robbed of a base hit. He hit it so hard off the foot of Pettibone, it carried high in the air to Rollins, and they got a force play. And then Gonzalez singled, Kemp doubled, and now Ethier is doubled, and the Dodgers lead 3-0. A.J. Ellis takes a strike. 0-1 the count. Ellis up there in the dugout. Hanley Ramirez listening to Adrian Gonzalez. The strike one pitch. In fact, A.J. Ellis backs out. Dodgers 3, Phillies nothing, first inning. Pettibone out of a stretch. Looks back at Ethier. Now the right-hander delivers, and it's high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. So he's now made 19 pitches, which means he is still very much in the bad zone. Young right-hander ready. And his 1-1 pitch. A.J. swings right through it, and the count 1-2. One of the things for Pettibone, he's been fortunate. He could easily have lost 3 more games. Instead, he was saved, leaving a game where he looked like he would lose, and the club came back to tie or take the lead. 1-2 pitch on the way, swung on, hit down the right field line, but that'll peel off foul and go back into the crowd. Nice crowd on hand on this warm evening. Sandy Koufax bobblehead night. And the Dodgers in the Phils. Dodgers 6 games back of Arizona. Arizona won, by the way, tonight. 1-2 pitch is fouled off. Philadelphia came in 7 games back of Atlanta. 2 games behind Washington. Juan Uribe waiting on deck. So Charlie Manuel still has a lot to go. A veteran manager. He'll figure out something, and the Phils will respond. Pettibone out of a stretch. And the 1-2 pitch coming up. Inside, almost hit Ellis. 2-2 the count. So a walk and an odd force play, then a single and back-to-back doubles. Dodgers jump out in front 3-0. 2-2 the count to A.J. Ellis. Humberto Quintero wig-wagging signs out to Pettibone. And the next pitch is a fastball, but he missed. And the count goes all the way. 3-2. So now this will be his 25th pitch. Trying to pick up Andre Ethier at second base. 1 out. Uribe on deck. The 3-2 pitch swung on, hit in the air to right field, going back on the ball and reaching and making a wonderful catch is Delman Young, and Ethier had to hold at second base. So Pettibone is pretty fortunate. First the ball off his foot, and now that catch by Delman Young right in front of the bullpen gate. He had to really go and get it. Reached out and just did hold on to it. Nice play, Delman Young. So 2 out, Ethier at second base. Delman saved a run with that play. And here's Juan Uribe. So Uribe hitting .275, 3 home runs, 16 runs batted in. Right-hand batter swings, hits a comebacker. Pettibone has it. I'm sure he heaves a sigh of relief. It's over. Not just their first inning, but those 26 pitches. Dodgers, however, get 3 runs, 3 hits, and leave a man. At the end of an inning, they lead the Phillies 3-0. And you can see the difference. Runs scored. The starting pitching has been magnificent. The bullpen has been perfect. And the defense over the 5 games committing only 1 error. In the second inning, Philadelphia now trying to play catch up. And leading off is Dominic Brown. Dominic Brown, 12 of his home runs have been hit at home, 12 of 20. Big left-hand batter. And they count his way, 2 balls and no strikes. He has 7 home runs leading off an inning. Well, here he is leading off the second inning. He's a first pitch hitter in the sense that 4 of his home runs came on the first pitch, but he's deep in the count now. 2 balls and no strikes. Brown swings, fouls it back, and the count 2-1. So Dominic Brown, the power hitter, hitting behind Ryan Howard. Brown is the first Phillies to have 20 home runs before July 1 since Raul Ibanez and Ryan Howard back in 2009. He takes inside. 3-1 the count to Brown. Dominic back up. Greinke looks in to get a sign. Brown is big, 6'5", 205 pounds, takes a strike. He's from Zephyr Hills, Florida. Went to high school in Georgia and was in the 20th round selected by Philadelphia. Here's the 3-2 pitch on the way. Brown swings, slices it foul, out of play. Among other things, Dominic had 12 home runs in May. They haven't had a hitter like that until you go back to 1923. So 3-2 the count to Dominic Brown. Here comes Greinke, and it is swung on a towering drive into deep center. Back goes Kemp to the wall, leaps up, it is over the wall. That is the 21st home run hit by the big guy from Zephyr Hills, Florida. 21 home runs, and the score now is Dodgers 3, Phillies 1. So Dominic Brown certainly lives up to everything we heard about him. That makes Pettibone feel a little bit better. Charlie Manuel is there to greet him. So Brown takes Greinke downtown, and the batter now is Delman Young, who made that fine catch. Kemp gave it his best shot, but it cleared the wall by plenty. So now Delman Young. Carlos Gonzalez Cargo of the Rockies and Brown now tied at 21. The first pitch in for a strike to Delman Young, the right fielder who took an extra base hit away from A.J. Ellis with a fine running catch. Hitting .230. Strike one, pitch is swung on and missed. Young has some sock. He has 7 home runs. He homered in his first at bat when he joined the Phillies. Strike two pitch, a line drive base hit into left center. Over to cut it off is Ethier. Holding with the single is Young, and Kevin Franson will be coming up. So Greinke gives up a home run followed by a single, and the batter will be Kevin Franson. Give you an idea about Greinke at home, and we mentioned that at the very start. With all the teams pitching for Milwaukee and the Angels and the Dodgers, 22-2 at home. There's some other good ones, but no one as good as he is. Clayton Kershaw, 26-9 at home. All right, Greinke now ready to work on Kevin Franson. And the right-hand hitter takes a slider down and away. Franson has been valuable coming off the bench. He has 7 pinch hits, and he has 6 pinch RBIs. Greinke leading 3-1 in the first inning. Set at the belt, comes back 1-0, and it's fouled off. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. You may remember Kevin Franson at one time was in the Giant organization. They were the ones who drafted him out of San Jose State. Born in Los Gatos and lives in San Jose. Even 6, 185, good third baseman. Came up to the Giants in 2006. Throw to first. Delman Young back on the bag. Delman Young does not have a stolen base. They also have a Michael Young who has 1. But the big guy is Ben Revere, who has stolen 20. Greinke set, working on a 1-1 count to Kevin Franson. Right-hander taking a lot of time, and Franson will take it and backs out. Zach Greinke deep in thought. Of course, a home run will make you be deep in thought. It's only the 4th home run that he's given up. The next pitch he misses, ball 2, 2-1 the count. So Franson has the hitter's count. Greinke gave up a double to Utley in the first inning, but got away with it. But now the home run after the Dodgers scored 3 in the first inning. 2 balls and 1 strike. Greinke delivers. Breaking ball low, dug out of the dirt by A.J. Ellis. And the count 3-1 after Franson, the catcher, Humberto Quintero. On a 3-1 count, they're checking to see if they might have a run and hit play. So Franson backs out, now gets back in. 3-1 pitch. Franson takes the strike, and they go 3-2. So they weren't going to run him 3-1. We'll see if they run him 3-2. Greinke very deliberate now, and Franson waiting. Young off the bag, conservative lead, and then Franson backs out. 3-1 favor of the Dodgers, top of the second inning. Greinke, hands set at the belt, looks over at first. Young goes, pitch is high, ball 4. So the Phillies here in the second inning have the tying runs aboard, nobody out, and the catcher Humberto Quintero coming up.
Catcher number 12, Humberto Quintero.
So Greinke a little bit wobbly here. Now working on the catcher. Carlos Ruiz has really been tearing up the town. However, Ruiz getting a rest, and Quintero hitting .231 as Carlos looks on. Ruiz terrific, has always done exceptionally well against the Dodgers. And the first pitch to Quintero, high and away, ball 1. He's from Maracaibo in Venezuela, built like a catcher. He's 5'9", weighs 200 pounds. Dodgers are going to have a little meat on the mound. He was originally drafted by the White Sox out of Venezuela. He finally made it to the big leagues with the Padres in 2003. Then he went to the Astros, up and down in their system, eventually to the Royals, and this year Philadelphia. In San Diego, they called him Barney Rubble. Rod Beck put that label on him. Here's the 1-0 pitch on the way. Quintero swings, doesn't get it. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to the Philadelphia catcher. Quintero in and out of the box. Dodgers lead 3-1, but the lead in jeopardy. Home run, single, and walk, and nobody out. The 1-1 pitch instead, Greinke a fake to second. Young trotted back to the bag. So Delman Young at second, Kevin Franson at first, nobody out. 1-1 the count to Humberto Quintero. Greinke ready. Zach delivers very high. That brought Ellis up out of the crouch. 2-1 the count. So in the inning, Dominic Brown homered for his 21st home run of the year. Delman Young singled. Kevin Franson walked. So a Dodger at the time 3-0 lead, 3-1, and that's in jeopardy. Greinke struggling a little bit here at the outset, and the 2-1 count coming up to Humberto Quintero, swung on and fouled away. 2-2 the count. Sunset time here in Los Angeles, a beautiful evening. It was 78 degrees when the ball game started. Two and two the count. Greinke very, very deliberate. Now he's ready, and the 2-2 pitch is taken low. Ball 3. So he's really fighting it. Home run, single, went 3-2 with Franson and walked him, and comes right back 3-2 with Quintero, with Pettibone the pitcher on deck. Greinke strikeout to walks, 16 walks, 43 strikeouts, and his 3-2 pitch instead is another fake and look at second base. All right, Greinke, who's been very, very conscious of Delman Young at second. Now with a full count, wondering if they're going to run. Pitchers on deck. They don't run, and the pitch is foul back. Down in San Diego, they remember a game back in 2004. Twice he dashed across the infield with the ball, did Quintero, with runners caught and run down. And then he tripped on the mound trying to get back to home plate. But his throw was to the pitcher, and the pitcher got the out at the plate. It's hard not to laugh to see the catcher get so involved and then trip on the mound. But it happened to Quintero, and whenever his name pops up, certainly the fans in San Diego remember. All right, he's battling. 3-2 the count. Greinke ready to make yet another pitch. It'll be his 34th pitch of the inning. The right-handed deals, and is a high fly ball to center. It's playable. Going back to the bag is Young to tag, but he's going to hold, and Kemp makes a strong throw on the fly to Uribe. So the boys have seen Puig throw, and they're all going to let out a little. So Quintero, a fly ball to center, one away. Now the pitcher, Jonathan Pettibone. Meanwhile, Puig kind of fans his face over there, looking over at Kemp as if to say, phew, what a throw. I will never forget in the old days when the outfielders used to throw to the bases before a game. I was doing an all-star game in New York, and in right field, the three all-stars were Dave Parker, Ellis Valentine, and Reggie Smith. And they all had guns for arms. And they would throw to second, and the crowd would ooh. And then they'd throw to third, and the crowd would ah. And then the crowd would just go wild when they threw to the plate. Sure missed seeing the outfielders throw to the bases. Pettibone bunts foul, and the count 0-1. 3-1, favor of the Dodgers. Second inning. Ryne Sandberg coaching at third. We used to call him Prince Valiant when he played for the Cubs. His hair came down to his shoulders, but no more. And over at first, one of our personal favorites, Juan Samuel, whose smile can really light up a room. 0-1 the count. Pettibone trying to advance the runners. The Dodgers look bunt. He tries to bunt, fouls it back, and the count 0-2. For Pettibone with the bat, he does not have a sacrifice. So no balls and 2 strikes. Charlie Manuel got 1 run back. Then he got a base hit and a walk, and it looked like he was really in business. Quintero, a fly ball to center. So 1 down. 0-2 the count to Pettibone. Throw back, and they got him. Delman Young is picked off second base. We wanted to make sure on C.B. Buckner's call. Close play, and for Charlie Manuel, it's muttering time in the Philadelphia dugout. So that's a killer. Of course, Young, he's trying to cheat, get a little jump, carrying a run, and he paid the price. So now you have 2 out, a tag on the hand. That's how close it was. The pitch of the play low and away. So 1-2 the count to Pettibone. So Young talking seriously and down to Dominic Brown in the dugout. 1-2 the count. Here comes Greinke, and it's taken inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jonathan Pettibone was up there to bunt, couldn't do it for 2 strikes. Now he's carried it 2-2. Deuces wild, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Dodgers lead by 2, 3-1. Greinke again ready. Zach's pitch to the plate in the dirt. Another 3-2 count. Boy, he is fighting the strike zone tonight, at least in the early going. And that's causing him to make a lot of pitches. He's now made 39 pitches. And he's 3-2 again. So Pettibone hoping to get aboard. Ben Revere on deck with the runner going. It's strike 3 called. So the Phillies wind up with 1 run. Dominic Brown hitting the home run to give him 21. And at the end of an inning and a half. Reminder Sunday, Dodgers and Phils at 1:10, and the first 15,000 ticketed kids 14 and under in attendance take home a Kids Performance shirt, compliments of Coca-Cola. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. Dodgers got 3 in the first inning. A walk to Schumacher, then a shot by Puig off the foot of Pettibone turned into a force play, and then Gonzalez single, Kemp double, Ethier double, and they might have had even more except for the catch that Delman Young made in right field on the ball hit by A.J. Ellis. So here's Nick Punto hitting .261, takes a strike. Nick playing short tonight. Pettibone is over the bad 25 pitches. His strike one pitch is a fastball off the plate. 1-1 the count. So I would assume that the young man from Yorba Linda, the Butterflies, have left, and he can go back to pitching. 1 ball and 1 strike. The next one swung on and fouled off. 1-2. Nick Punto, who's been so valuable to the Dodgers, hitting a solid .260. They played just about anywhere on the infield. Now the 1-2 pitch on the way is high. Punto at 5'9" takes it up over the head almost. 2-2 to Nick. Pettibone into the windup, and his 2-2 pitch on the way. That's very high. 3-2 the count. In his first big league game, that was back in April, Jonathan allowed 6 hits, 2 runs, and struck out 6 in 5 1/3 innings. That got everybody's attention. 3-2 to Punto is swung on. Pop fly into shallow right center. It's going to drop for a base hit. So Nick Punto, a little flare into right center. He will take it. Because it's maddening for ball players, and it would only be human to react that way. I mean, there's Puig. He almost took the foot off Pettibone, and it's going to be just a force play. And then there's Ellis, who hit the ball to right field, and a great running catch by Delman Young. Whoops, there goes Punto. The throw down, he's in there. So a stolen base by Nick Punto, and the Dodgers now have a runner in scoring position and nobody out. Nick got a pretty good jump and just does beat Quintero's throw. Jimmy Rollins trying to pin him, but couldn't do it in time. The hand before the tag. Charlie Manuel coming out to talk to the plate umpire, Dodd Tishner. And it was Quintero, I think. He was hollering maybe about Greinke, maybe interfering, but they lost the argument. Now the strike one pitch on the way, and the bunt is down. Punto is on his way to third. Out at first. Sacrifice works. So the Dodgers now have a runner at third with 1 out. And the batter will be Skip Schumacher. Humberto Quintero behind the plate, and you can see as he strides with his left foot, he hit Greinke's knee, and that's what he was arguing about right there. Plate umpire did not call anything, but Quintero felt he was interfered with, but there's a stolen base. For Greinke, he finally got a sacrifice down. That's his first of the year. Infield is up. Schumacher at the plate and takes low, ball 1. Dodgers lead 3-1, trying to pick up another run. So Pettibone on the edge of giving up another as Punto comes down the line. The 1-0 pitch on the way, and that's low, ball 2. 2-0. In and out of the box is Schumacher. Now Pettibone is ready, looks over at third, comes to the plate and misses away. 3-0 the count. And of course the crowd immediately stirs and murmurs with Yasiel Puig on deck. The 3-0 the count. Schumacher looks over to Charlie Manuel. Now tries to set up 3-0 for Pettibone, and the pitch, and that's in there at the knees. 3-1 the count. Schumacher looking to Tim Wallach. Punto short lead off the bag at third. Nick went head first into second, and he went head first into third. Now the 3-1 pitch coming up. Pettibone delivers, swung on and missed. 3-2. Pettibone's pitch count starting to move up a bit. 39 pitches. Jonathan looks down to Quintero. Schumacher waiting, and a 3-2 pitch on the way. Right-handed deal, sprayed foul off third down the line. Still 3-2. Dodgers got 3 in the first. Phillies got 1 in the second. And here we are in the bottom of the second. Puig is waiting. Schumacher 3-2 at the count. Now the pitch by Pettibone, and that's way inside on the corner. Strike 3 call. Schumacher thought it was going to miss, and it had a late break to it and caught the zone. So that's a big out. Just drifted back in, and Schumacher all set to throw the bat away. Instead carries it back to the dugout. So here's Puig. What a shot he hit in the first inning. Really, Pettibone is fortunate he didn't get hurt. Hit him off the side of the foot. Ball caromed over to short, and he turned it into a force play. So Puig checks in with 2 out, Punto at third, and the pitch to him outside in the dirt. Nice save by Quintero. I think we've talked about how proficient Puig has been on the first 2 pitches. When he puts them in play, he's been dynamite. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way, and that's a fastball low. 2-0 to count to Puig. Jonathan Pettibone, the young right-hander, has Punto down the line from third with 2 out. The 2-0 pitch waved at. They're going to check. No swing, says Dale Scott. Puig tried to hold up, barely got by with it. So 3-0. Are the Dodgers going to let him swing 3-0? Well, we'll find out. He is so aggressive, they might. Pettibone is ready. The pitch swung on. Ground ball, however, to Utley, and he'll throw him out. So you figured they'd let him swing, but he taps to the second baseman, and the Dodgers blow a good chance of picking up a run. And at the end of 2, 3-1 Dodgers. Both starting pitchers have been shaky. Pettibone, for instance, has had a lot of 3-2 counts, a half a dozen in just 2 innings. He's made 45 pitches. But Greinke has also been around the plate. He's made 40 pitches, so we're only in the third. Zach Reddy in the first pitch to Ben Revere is a hopper into left field for a base hit. So Ben Revere, who is in that lineup, certainly not for power. In fact, if you add it all up, 250 at-bats plus another 19 appearances, so about 270. Add that, he has about 1,342 big league plate appearances without a home run. But it doesn't make any difference. He's a rabbit, and he has stolen 20 bases. So Revere with Chase Utley, followed by Jimmy Rollins. Out of his stretch goes Greinke, comes to the left hand hitting Utley, and it jumps in for a strike. And the count 0-1. Chase in and out of the box. Veteran left-hand batter. The strike one pitch instead throw to first. Revere diving back to the bag. The Dodgers and Phillies, neither team so far this year has really scored a lot of run. In fact, they're the only teams in Major League Baseball not to have scored at least 10 runs in a game this year. Strike one pitch on the way. Utley swings, doesn't get it. 0-2 the count. We mentioned the coaches, Juan Samuel at first, Ryne Sandberg at third, and there's certainly a connection with Ryne Sandberg and Don Mattingly. Tell you in a moment. No balls and 2 strikes to Chase Utley, who doubled in the first inning. Dodgers lead 3-1. We're in the third. Strike 2 pitch on the way. There goes Revere. It's missed at the plate. Great throw to get it. Oh, A.J. Ellis. I mean, he shot an arrow down there, and Ben Revere is nailed as Utley strikes out. Beautiful throw. Wow, you talk about a major league catcher. It was a good pitch, a high fastball, and he got it down to Punto in plenty of time. So with the strikeout, it goes 2-6. That erases Revere, and the batter will be Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy, switch hitter, batting left-handed, takes ball 1. And for Ben Revere, nailed by A.J. We were talking about the connection, Sandberg and Mattingly. In 1984, Sandberg was the National League MVP. The 1-0 pitch is strike. Don Mattingly was the American League batting champion. And then in 1985, Mattingly was the American League most valuable player. So they share top honors, Mattingly and Sandberg. 1-1 pitch inside, check swing. Thought maybe the ball hit Rollins. 1-2 the count. Talking about MVP, Jimmy, MVP in 2007. He's won 4 Gold Gloves, 2007, 8, 9, and 12. Back in 05 and 6, Jimmy had a 38-game hitting streak. He was also the Rookie of the Year and an All-Star in 2001, and he takes strike 3. So a leadoff single meant nothing. The great throw by A.J. to cut down Revere, and then Rollins strikes out as well. And we're going to the bottom of the third. After the game with the Phillies at 7:10, you can enjoy a Friday night fireworks show themed to celebrate America's Independence Day. Compliments of Denny's. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. The Dodgers will be in Colorado on the 4th of July, though we'll celebrate it tomorrow night. Into the bottom of the third, 3-1 Dodgers, and it'll be Adrian Gonzalez. Pettibone's fastball away, ball one. 1-0 the count. Adrian very happy with home cooking. The 1-0 pitch on the way, swung on, grounded foul. 340 at home. So Gonzalez, then Kemp and Ethier, they exploded quickly in the first inning. Gonzalez single to right, Kemp double in a run, Ethier double in two. Might have been more. Delman Young made a great catch in right field. Check swing by Adrian. He wasn't sure about whether he really wanted to go after the pitch or not. And it's a 1-2 count. Pitch might have been up and out of the strike zone. So Pettibone looks down the barrel to get a sign. Quintero behind the plate. The 1-2 pitch on the way, and that's inside, crowding him at the hands. And the count 2-2. Jonathan Pettibone, the young boy from Yorba Linda, pitching here in Dodger Stadium. The 2-2 pitch on the way, off the plate, ball three. So the Phillies have Jonathan Pettibone and Jonathan Papelbon. One a starter, one a reliever. 3-2 the count. Tomorrow night, Chris Capuano and John Lamon. 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed. And down goes Adrian. And we have one out here in the third inning. That would be the second strikeout for the pitcher.
Center fielder, number 27, Matt Kemp.
Matt Kemp ripped a double down the left field line in the first inning. That chased home Puig. Gonzalez stopped at third, so then Ethier doubled to drive in both of them. Matt's always tormented Philadelphia, a .342 lifetime batting average. Pettibone into his windup, tall right-handed delivers, a check swing foul, 0-1 the count. Matt didn't want to swing, tried to hold up, inadvertently hit the ball. No balls and one strike. Pettibone at 6'5", 200-pounder. Now his strike one pitch on the way. Matt has a look, pays the price, and the count 0-2. We told you that of his 12 starts, Pettibone's Phillies have won 8 of the 12. So even though you look at a 3-3 record, it's misleading. However, he has not had a win in his last 7 starts. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Matt right on top of the plate, and the 1-2 pitch swung on and missed, and down he goes. So Pettibone strikes out Gonzalez and Kemp. That's a pretty good night's work. And Andre Ethier coming up. Ethier doubled in a couple in the first inning. Dodgers 3 runs, 4 hits. The Phillies 1 run, 4 hits in the third. So here's Ethier. Pettibone delivers, and the first pitch lifted down the left field line. A trio of Phillies, and it's going to be the left fielder Dominic Brown making the catch in foul ground. So Ethier flies to left. The Dodgers in order, and at the end of 3, Dodgers lead 3-1. Puig repeated. And the question is, do you think Bruce Bochy should select Yasiel Puig to play in the All-Star game? Tweet hashtag Puig All-Star and then either yes or no. We'll give the results during the game. Previous time, overwhelming for Puig. Well, we'll just see how you feel about it. We go to the fourth, and Ryan Howard at the plate. 0-1, fouled that right into the Philadelphia dugout. How good is Ryan Howard? Well, he is number 5 as far as best RBIs per game ratio ever. That means his names are really with the gods of the game. Fly ball to right field. Puig right there. And one hands it for the out. One away. Number 1 in the best RBI per game ratio, Lou Gehrig. Followed by Hank Greenberg. Followed by Joe DiMaggio. Followed by Babe Ruth. Followed by Ryan Howard. He's special. So 1 out in the fourth. And here's Dominic Brown, who homered in the second inning. Dominic with 21 home runs. Big left-hand batter. 1 ball and no strikes. One and one. Dominic Brown stands 6'5", 205 pounds. Most home runs he ever hit, 15 in the minor leagues, and he has 21 in the big leagues. 2-1 to count. Brown was also a wide receiver, and they say a star football talent. 2-1 pitch. Foul ball. 2-2 the count. He went to Georgia's Redden High School. That's the same school that produced Brandon Phillips. 2-2. Ball 3. Dominic is 25. He'll be 26 in September. Spent a lot of time in the minor leagues. Came up 2010, but he went right back down to the minors. Fastball on the hands, and down he goes. 5 strikeouts for Zach Greinke. 2 out here in the fourth, and the batter will be Delman Young. Ball had a lot of movement on it. It's way inside. Look at that. So 2 out. Brown goes to school, and here comes Young. Strike. Delman made a wonderful running catch right near the Philadelphia bullpen on a ball hit by A.J. Ellis. If he doesn't make the catch, the Dodgers score about 5 in the first inning instead of 3. Fouled away. Delman's out of Alabama but lives in Camarillo. Went to school. Tampa Devil Rays drafted him out of Camarillo High School. 1-2. Delman will be 28. Came up to the Rays back in 06. Then had a good amount of time with the Twins and the Tigers. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Greinke missing inside with a fastball. 2-2. Remember Dimitri Young? It's his brother. Two balls and 2 strikes. Ball 3. And he probably hits one over the glove of Schumacher. So it's a 2-out single by Delman Young, and he's now 2 for 2. And the batter will be Kevin Franzen. Delman Young, certainly no stranger to Dodger Stadium. His brother Dimitri had him here when the Reds were here, and they let Delman Young hit. He was maybe a sophomore in high school, and he hit 3 balls out of the park. Franzen walked in the second inning. Big slow curveball, ball 1. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 5 hits for the Phils. We're in the 4th. Check swing, they're going to look, swing. Dale Scott, 1 ball and 1 strike. Franzen muttering a little bit. So is Charlie Manuel. One pitch, swung on, sliced in the air to Puig in right field. Oh hum. No runs, 1 hit, a man left, and at the end of 3.5 innings, 3-1 Dodgers. By your Southern California Kia retailers. Visit mysocalkia.com. By AT&T, rethink possible. And by 76, we're on the driver's side. Dodgers holding on to a 3-1 lead, bottom of the 4th inning. A.J. Ellis, Juan Uribe, and Nick Punto. Beautiful evening. 78 when the game started. Don't need a breeze. It's cooled off considerably. A.J. robbed of an extra base hit and a run batted in on a great running catch by Delman Young in right field. 3 home runs, 15 runs batted in. 1-1. There was also a great throw by A.J. Ellis to nail Ben Revere, trying to steal as Utley struck out in the 3rd inning. Ball 2. Each pitcher tonight, Pettibone and Greinke, I guess you could say they are tentative. They've each had a half a dozen 3-2 counts early in the game. Fastball missed, so he goes 3-1. Dodgers scored 3 in the 1st inning. He lived up to the note where he's really troubled the first 25 pitches. He gave up 3 runs and finally got out of the inning on the 26th pitch. So another 3-2 count. This one to A.J. Ellis. Fastball lifted to right field. Young again on the move. Right on the track. One hands it in foul ground. So Ellis going the other way. This time fouls out to right. One away. Here's the upcoming Dodger calendar. We still have 3 left with Philadelphia. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Don't forget the fireworks on Friday. Dodgers then go out on the road. 3 in Colorado. This is really the most important part of the first half of the season. 3 with Colorado, then the Giants, then Arizona, then home with Colorado. And you would guess if the Dodgers are going to go to the whip and start to make a move in the race, it will happen during that road trip and the home games with Colorado, just prior to the All-Star break. 1 ball and 1 strike. Uribe hitting .273. That's off the plate. 2-1 to count. And punched on the ground to Howard. He'll feed Pettibone coming over. Whether it was butterflies or not, Jonathan Pettibone has settled down. The first inning, he made 26 pitches and gave up 3 runs. Since then, he's allowed just 1 hit, and he retired 8 in a row, facing Punto, who has the hit. And the hit was just a little flare, a little fly ball that dropped into right center. Two down in the 4th. 3-1 Phils. Swung on, hit in the air. Very playable. Out there and left is Dominic Brown, and that'll be that. So that means 9 in a row since the last base hit. Pettibone is at home, but the Dodgers lead 3-1. Inning. Couple of scores you ought to know about. The Arizona Diamondbacks were down 2-0, but it went 11 and they beat Washington 3-2. Montero scored Miggy on what appeared to be a bunt for a base hit. The Mets defeated Colorado 3-2. Mike Kadai's 24-game hitting streak now a club record, and the other, the Cubs beating Milwaukee 7-2. Greinke going to work on Quintero, who pulls it on the ground to Uribe. 1 away. It's been hot in Los Angeles. You know how you check the weather on your phone if you have a weather apps and you look up? We were looking up Phoenix because it was so hot here today, wondering I wonder how hot it is in Phoenix. They are projecting downtown Phoenix tomorrow, 119 degrees. So if you are going over to Phoenix, good luck. 1 out in the 5th, 3-1 Dodgers. 1-1 to Pettibone. Tried to bunt, couldn't do it, eventually struck out. Not able to bunt yet this year. 1 ball and 1 strike. That's a strike, 1-2. Just the beginning, game 1 of what should be a dandy 4-game series. John Lannon and Chris Capuano tomorrow night. Saturday night, Cliff Lee and Hyun-Jin Ryu. Lee will come in 9-2. That's ball 2. And then Kyle Kendrick 7-4 against Stephen Fife on Sunday. Two and it's hit inside third down the line. Holding on at first base with a base hit is Pettibone. And that'll bring up Ben Revere. Just slapped at the ball. Uribe playing way off the line. So down she goes for a base hit. Now Revere struck out, singled. Tried to steal second as Utley struck out, and A.J. Ellis hung him out to dry. Revere hitting .274. And a strike, 0-1. Revere hitting .313 for about 6 weeks. A shot off the leg of Greinke. That's going to go into shallow right field. And so Pettibone is going to go to third. So earlier in the first inning, the shot by Puig went over to Rollins and they got a force play. This time, the shot by Revere off Greinke's leg caroms into right field because Schumacher broke to cover second base, and he certainly couldn't get back to get it in time. Pettibone realized that, so he ran to third. So now a very tough customer coming up with runners at first and third. It's Chase Utley. So Chase hitting .269. He and the catcher Carlos Ruiz had a very good combined series against San Diego. First and third, 1 out. Utley has doubled and struck out. Throw to first, and Revere diving back to the bag. So Greinke in a lot of trouble here, trying to hold on to a 3-1 lead. And they're going to really keep an eye on Revere, because they should. He came here with 20 stolen bases and was nailed trying for 21. On that ball that glanced off the leg of Greinke for a base hit for Revere, that would be his 20th infield single. Utley, a little flare, and that's going to drop. Pettibone will score. Revere isn't about to stop, goes to third. So the tying run is 90 feet away with Philadelphia. The score is now 3-2, and Utley makes it look easy. So Utley just put the bat on the ball to get a flare. Revere kept on going to third. Pettibone came home easily.
Shortstop number 11, Jimmy Rollins.
So Utley, his second hit, a run batted in. Pettibone back in the dugout thanks to his base hit. And here's Jimmy Rollins, fouled out and struck out. Rollins, switch hitter, batting left-handed. Phillies at first and third. Revere, the rabbit, down the line from third. And ball one to Jimmy Rollins. Chase Utley is a terrific base stealer. He's been successful 38 of his last 41 stolen bases. They could pull off a double steal here. 1 ball and no strikes. Rollins pulls it into right field. That ties up the game. Utley will stop at second as Puig guns it back in. So 4 straight hits now for Philadelphia. The Rollins base hit, run batted in. Revere walks it home.
Number 6, Ryan Howard.
Utley stopping at second, and now the big man, Ryan Howard, coming up. The Greinke has allowed 3 runs, and would you believe 9 hits. There's going to be a little meeting at the mound. That'll give us a chance to talk about a column that a good friend of ours and a fine writer for the Detroit Free Press, John Lowe, wrote just recently. It was about a pitcher named Reggie Cleveland of the Boston Red Sox, and he was pitching at Tiger Stadium in September of 1977. He went all the way to win the game 12-5, but here's the kicker. He allowed 18 hits. Can you imagine? An 18 hitter. Today you'd figure if you allow 9 hits, you're in a lot of trouble. But he went all the way. In his 18 hitter, by the way, Reggie Cleveland walked none. Twice went to a 3-ball count. Struck out only 1. Gave up 18 hits and won the game. There have been a couple of others to pitch an 18 hitter. One of them was a member of the Philadelphia Phillies, Robin Roberts. He beat the Braves and went 17 innings, allowed 18 hits, and won the game. And of course, he's in the Hall of Fame. Meanwhile, Peter Moylan, the pride of Australia, begins to loosen up in the Dodger bullpen. A lot of trouble for Greinke here. 4 straight hits and a 3-3 tie. Howard has flied to left, flied to right, and takes ball 1. Ryan, a big man who takes a big cut at the ball. The other night we were watching Marco Scutaro, and most of the time if he swings he misses. Howard checks up on a pitch in the dirt. 2-0 the count. Howard has the second highest rate of swing and miss strikes. But he's also the big butter and egg man. Ryan Howard, 10 home runs, 41 runs batted in. He is Utley at second, Rollins at first. Both men fly, so they could run them easily. The 2-0 pitch is low. The Greinke is digging a huge hole. Remember his record at home prior to tonight, 22-2 at home, as Moylan continues to throw. What to do with Howard 3-0? Is he going to swing? Yes. And Greinke has the ball. They get 1. They get 2. No, that's the inning. So they gamble Howard a 3-0 pitch, and he hits into a double play. Phillies wind up with 2, and we're heading to the bottom of the 5th in a 3-3 tie. Saturday, Dodgers and Phillies at 7:10. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance. You'll receive your own set of Dodger earbuds, compliments of T-Mobile. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Zach Greinke will start it off, followed by Schumacher and Puig. Jonathan Pettibone, who wobbled in the first inning, has really settled down now. Big pop fly. Jimmy Rollins makes the play. The Greinke, a good hitting pitcher, pops it up. 1 out, and it means that Pettibone has now retired 10 in a row.
For the Dodgers, number 3, Skip Schumacher.
Skip Schumacher walked and struck out. He walked, and then Puig hit that shot off the foot of Pettibone that went high in the air, and Rollins was able to make a force play out of it. And a strike to Skip. Three, bottom of the 5th, 1 away. Dodgers got 3. Phillies came right back in the 2nd inning. A home run by Dominic Brown. They ran themselves out of a possible bigger inning. But then in the 5th inning, 4 straight hits, and they've tied it up. One and 2 the count. Pulled on the ground to Big Ryan. Howard steps on the bag. 2 down. And here comes Yasiel Puig. He hit the ball really hard in the first inning, and it turned out to be a force play. Rolled out in the 2nd. What's he doing? Well, in his first month in the majors, he has 37 hits. The first month for Joe DiMaggio in May of 1936, Jolton Joe had 48. Ball 1. Foul back, 1-1 the count. Puig hitting .425, 7 home runs, 14 runs batted in. One ball and 1 strike. One and 2. Time. Puig 0 for 2 tonight. 3 hits last night against the Giants. On the hands, pulled foul. Still 1 and 2. Waiting on deck, Adrian Gonzalez. Another foul ball. Tim Wallach giving him a lot of room. In San Diego on Saturday, Puig hit a line drive and it hit Wallach in the hip. He is fortunate he was hit on the hip. He never saw the line drive. Still 1 and 2. Well, Tim said, okay, you got me once. Two out, 5th inning, 3-3. Wouldn't chase, 2 and 2. You would expect Puig, who stands pretty far off the plate, which usually means he wants the ball inside. He gets it and pops it up. It'll be Utley calling, waiting, puts it away. So the Dodgers score quickly. It's 12 in a row retired by Pettibone in a 3-3 tie. Jerry Royce pitched a no-hitter against the Giants, winning 8-0. That made his record 9-1 and an earned run average of 1.8. Let's get back to this one. Boys are ready to go after each other. So into the 6th inning we go with Dominic Brown. Change missing, ball 1. Right now, Jonathan Pettibone has become a story. The young fella from Yorba Linda has retired 12 in a row, and the Phillies have gotten him even. And ball 2. Greinke has been in trouble. He's given up at least 1 hit in every inning. So the Phillies have 9 hits to go with their 3. Dodgers have 4 hits to go with theirs. And he's behind 3-0. Brown homered and struck out. And a strike, 3-1. Dominic Brown, as we mentioned, has 7 home runs leading off an inning. His home run led off the 2nd inning, so he now has 8. And another strike. Full count to Dominic. 3-3, 6th inning. Swung on, hit in the air to left field. Ethier's there. So they get Brown on a fly ball. 1 out in the 6th. And the batter will be Delman Young.
Delman Young.
Puig was looking at his uniform as if he had to wash it. 1 out. And that's a crackback single to left field. So Delman Young bidding for a perfect night. He is 3 for 3.
Coming to the plate, third baseman Kevin Francis.
So that'll bring up Kevin Francis. It also means Philadelphia has 10 hits to go with 3 runs. They had 4 hits in a row in the 5th inning to score twice and tie it up. So Greinke with a new ball. Francis walked. Didn't like the call on 1 pitch. It was a check swing, but it was called a strike by Dale Scott. And then Francis flied to right field. Arizona won. They won the ball game. Extra inning game with Washington. Miguel Montero doubled. And Didi Gregorius bunted him in. Big bouncer through into left field. That's 11 hits now. And Greinke is just not Greinke. So 1 out. Young comes up with his 3rd hit. Francis comes up with 1. Quintero, the catcher, has fly to center, grounded to 3rd. And now the only people on the outside looking in, Ryan Howard, who is 0 for 3, and Humberto Quintero, who is at the plate now, 0 for 2. Everybody else at least 1 hit. So 3 runs, 11 hits for Philadelphia. 3 runs, only 4 hits for the Dodgers. Phillies have a little 2-game winning streak. Dodgers, of course, have a 5-game streak. J.P. Howell is now up. Moylan has stopped throwing, though it's the left-hander getting ready. So Greinke in constant trouble. Here's Quintero. Catcher hitting .222. The Phillies have 4 of the 11 hits on the first pitch. So let's see about Quintero. And ball 1, wouldn't chase. One ball and no strikes to Humberto Quintero. 2 on, 1 away, 6th inning, 3-3. Dodgers scored 3 in the first inning and haven't really been heard from since. And the Phillies just keep pecking away. 1 out. Ground ball to short. That should be a deuce. They get run. They easily get 2. So the Dodgers came up with a double play against Ryan Howard in the 5th inning, and they bail out with it in the 6th. And it's still a 3-3 tie. Game 1 of a 4-game series. Tomorrow night, John Lannon looking for his first win against Chris Capuano, who pitched so well against the Yankees and then repeated it 3 days later pitching against San Diego. That'll be game 2 of the 4-game series. Game 3, that would be Cliff Lee going against Byung-Hyun Kim. Excuse me, Hyun-Jin Ryu. And then Sunday, Kyle Kendrick and Stephen Fife. Jonathan Pettibone has retired 12 in a row. 3-3 in the 6th inning. Last Dodger hit was a single by Punto in the 2nd inning. Oh, 0-1. Gonzalez singled in the 1st inning, sending Puig to 3rd. Last time up, struck out. Then Kemp doubled in Puig, and Ethier doubled in Gonzalez and Kemp. But the Dodger offense has not been heard from since. 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. One and 2. Jonathan Pettibone, whose father played under Charlie Manuel in Double-A many years ago. Now I'm sure pitching in front of his dad, and the count 2-2. And a fly ball to left field, going back on it a little bit, Dominic Brown. but he had that all the way. 1 out, 13 in a row, retired by Pettibone.
For the Dodgers, center fielder, number 27, Matt Kemp.
Matt Kemp doubled and struck out. One thing about Pettibone, if you get on base, you can steal bases against him. He's given up 9 stolen bases. The problem for the Dodgers, they can't get on base. And a strike. One ball and 1 strike. So the pride of Esperanza High School in Anaheim, Jonathan Pettibone, doing very well. Fastball misses. 92. 2-1 to count. Pitch counts up to 88. Ball 3, way off the plate. The Phillies do not give you pitch count as far as previous games. But he's right up there now, ready to make number 90. Ground ball, just foul outside of first. Might have cracked the bat. He did. So Matt going back to get another stick, and they count 3-2. Dodger runs in the first inning. Schumacher walked. A hard shot by Puig that should have been a base hit went off the foot of Pettibone to Rollins, and they got a force play. Gonzalez then singled. Kemp doubled him, scoring Puig, sending Gonzalez to third. And then Ethier doubled home Gonzalez and Kemp, and the Dodgers had a 3-0 lead, which has disappeared. Still 3-2 to Matt Kemp. The Phillies had Dominic Brown for the 8th time this year lead off an inning with a home run. And then they had 4 straight hits in the 5th inning for 2 runs and tied it up. So here we are in the bottom of the 6th. And down goes Kemp. Or did he get a piece of it? He did. He just did get a bit, and he's still there. 3-2. Dodgers know, despite the 5-game winning streak, Arizona won, so they have to win to remain 6 back. Another foul ball. In checking, we find that Pettibone's high for the year, 112 pitches. That's also his high in his career. He went 112 pitches early in May against the Giants. So he's being backed up in the bullpen. Justin DeFreitas. Kemp, meanwhile, struggling and strikes out a second time. 14 in a row retired by Jonathan Pettibone. Andre Ethier had the last clutch hit. He came up in the first inning and got a hold of one into deep right center field, and that scored 2. Adrian Gonzalez and Matt Kemp come in. But that's really the last noise the Dodgers have made all night. Since that time, Punto had a pop fly single. So Pettibone has just taken over. He retired 14 in a row, and that's ball 1 to Ethier. One ball and no strikes. Pettibone will lead off the 7th inning, and he had the first of the 4 consecutive hits back in the 5th. Ground ball to the hole, backhanded by Rollins. That'll be that. So 15 in a row retired by Pettibone since the base hit by Punto in the 2nd inning, and we're locked in at 3. 3-3 tie. Dodgers started off with a rush, but ever since it's been Jonathan Pettibone, having retired 15 in a row. Dominic Brown started the Philadelphia fireworks, leading off a home run, his 21st home run of the year, and the 8th home run that he has hit leading off an inning. Lance Nix is out on deck to bat for Pettibone, though it will be Nix and then Revere and Utley. So they figure that's enough for Pettibone. The Dodgers have to be relieved that Pettibone was just too tough. 15 in a row retired. So a great effort by the boy from Yorba Linda.
Pitch hitting place for the Phillies. Pitch hitting for Pettibone. Number 19, Lance Nix.
Lance Nix is number one in the difficult role of pinch hitting with Eric Hinsky. He has 9 pinch hits and 5 runs batted in. Big swing, 0-1. No balls and 1 strike. And lifts into shallow center. Schumacher going out and makes the fine running catch. Matt Kemp was coming hard. They avoided the collision. Boy, that takes terrific able to concentrate on the ball, knowing the center fielder is coming hard. And Schumacher just eyes riveted on the ball and made the fine catch. So 1 away. Now Ben Revere struck out, singled and scored in the 5th inning. They were running Revere in the 3rd inning. Chase Utley struck out, and A.J. Ellis made a great throw to nail Revere. He's 20 for 26 and slices one to left. Ethier makes the catch. Andre at home, I guess, in the outfield, no matter where you put him. Right field, of course, has been his home. Then when Kemp was down, he was playing center and did a great job. Now tonight, he's playing left field for the first time in 5 years and doing well. So 2 out, and here is Utley. Doubled, struck out, and singled. Greinke is due to bat 4th when the Dodgers hit in the bottom of the 7th. Ball 1. Three runs, 11 hits for the Phils. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers. Off speed for a strike. So a 73-mile-an-hour changeup and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Utley with that bad side that kept him on the DL for over a month, but he's back and swinging well. I should say a drive to right. Puig to the wall, reaches, can't make it, home run, and Puig hit the wall full tilt. So Utley is racing around, and they'll tell him, take your time. That ball's out of here. But he wasn't sure. And now he finds out, oh, I hit a home run. Puig hit the wall pretty hard. Schumacher and Kemp coming over. Are you all right? And he said, yeah. It had to shake him up, however. The other night, remember, he banged his head against the right field wall. So Utley hits it over the right field wall, his 3rd hit of the night. And that makes it 4-3 Philadelphia. And the batter is Jimmy Rollins. Greinke has given up 2 home runs in the game tonight. Chase from 1st to 3rd was flying until he found out He was running out a home run. Greinke has allowed 6 home runs this year, 2 tonight. 2-0 the count. 4-3 Philadelphia. And ball 3. Rollins fouled out, struck out, single to right. Three and 0. On the inside corner, 3-1. Fastball, a chopper to Gonzalez. Overhands it to Greinke. That's the inning, but it's a big run in the top of the 7th. A home run by Chase Utley. And we're heading for the bottom of the 7th. 4-3 Philadelphia. Runs to the Dodgers 1, and it is 4-3. Jonathan Pettibone, who gave up 3 in the first inning, it looked like it was going to be a rout, especially against Zach Greinke on Greinke's home field. However, it's turned around the other way. Pettibone at one stage retired 15 in a row, and he comes out after the home run by Chase Utley. Zach Greinke has made 102 pitches. He's had at least 1 hit in every inning. And Chase Utley right now is the difference, and that we have said so many times over the years in Dodger-Phillies games. Justin DeFreitas out of Oxnard went to Ventura Junior College, following the boy from Yorba Linda, Jonathan Pettibone. He was an 11th round pick by the Phils back in 2007, 6'4", 220, 25 years old. He'll be 26 in October. Leading off for the Dodgers, A.J. Ellis, and ball 1. A.J. robbed of an extra base hit and a run batted in by Delman Young, and fouled out to Young in the right field corner. Fastball drilled in there, 1-1. So Justin DeFreitas, older brother, played in the minor leagues for 3 years, finally gave it up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2. DeFreitas once appeared on a popular Food Network cooking program. Two 1 pitch. And missing low with an off-speed pitch. 3-1 to count. Usually the relievers for the Phils, John Papelbon, Antonio Bastardo, and Michael Stutz. 3-1 to count. Fastball, fouled it back. Good fastball at 93. A couple of years ago in a Florida State League All-Star game, Justin hit 98 on the gun. Off speed for ball 4. So he took a lot off and walked Ellis. So the Dodgers have the tying run at first. And the batter, Juan Uribe, who is hit back to the box and grounded to first.
Third baseman, Juan Uribe.
Four to 3 favor the Phils. Ellis at first, Uribe and Punto to follow. Did he bunt? No, 1 ball and no strikes. Wallach checking to see if they really do want him to bunt. Nick Punto waiting on deck. And the bunt is foul. 1-1 to count. Uribe has 1 sacrifice this year. Justin DeFreitas, baseball, fastball, slider, and a changeup. One and one. Well, Uribe showing bunt. Got it down. Fair bunt. Picked up. Ryan Howard falls down. Wow. So Ryan Howard charging what looked like a very easy play. Yasiel Puig got a big kick out of seeing Howard fall down. And the Dodgers have runners at first and second. They will call it a base hit. Ryan Howard and the Phillies might call it something else. So now the Dodgers have runners at first and second, nobody out. Nick Punto will be the batter, and Jerry Hairston comes out on deck to pinch hit. The big Ryan Howard, it looked like somebody just pulled the rug right out from under him. So Hairston will be batting after Punto.
Let's go, Dodgers.
So Charlie Manuel sending out Rich Dubee, his pitching coach. Another tough moment for Philadelphia. They have just taken a 4-3 lead for the first time tonight. But the walk and the intended sacrifice turns out to be a base hit. So first and second, and here's Punto. And by the way, they're calling Hairston away. Hanley Ramirez is coming out on deck. Punto figures to bunt and does. Good one. Picked up by Perez and makes the play. The Quintero gets his man. And now the runners are at second and third, 1 out, and Hanley Ramirez will be coming up. The first base open, and then you have Schumacher on deck coming up.
Attention, please. For the Dodgers, pinch hitting, number 13. Hanley Ramirez.
If you have been following the Dodgers, you know that Ramirez has been blazing hot. They decided, since he had played 8 straight and he still is coming off that tender hamstring issue, they would give him the night off. But instead, they're asking him to go up and get a big base hit. Ramirez is 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter, but he's been tearing it up of late. And you have A.J. Ellis, the tying run at third. Juan Uribe at second, and one out. So Hanley checking in. And we're waiting to see whether Charlie Manuel tells his catcher, yes, they're going to walk him. So one out, and in a moment the bases will be loaded. Charlie talking to Rich Doobie, his pitching coach. DeFreitas has walked 7 and struck out 12. And he'll be pitching to the left-hand hitting Skip Schumacher in a moment. And after Schumacher, Yasiel Puig. So 3-0, and now ball 4. So Ramirez comes in as a pinch hitter and gets his first intentional walk of the year. Antonio Bastardo is down in the bullpen. DeFreitas, bases loaded, and Bastardo tuning up. Bastardo has inherited 7 runners, and 2 have scored. And he's getting ready. Big at bat for Schumacher. Schumacher walked in the first inning, struck out and grounded out. Bases loaded, Ellis, Uribe, and Ramirez. 0-1 to Schumacher. Schumacher, 15 runs batted in. He does have a slam. 0-1. 4-3 Phils, 1 out, 7th inning. Fouled away. The Schumacher in a hole now, 0-2. Schumacher hitting .259 against right-handers. Since May 4th, however, he's been hitting around .290. 0-2. Just did hold up. No, he didn't. Bill Miller rings him up, and Schumacher is out on strikes. So now 2 down, and wouldn't you know, Yasiel Puig, here he comes.
Number 66, Yasiel Puig.
A lot of people standing up now as Puig makes his way to the plate. He is 0 for 3, crashed into the right field wall in pursuit of Chase Utley's home run. He slashed one off Pettibone's foot, and it turned out to be a force play that should have been a base hit. Since then, grounded out and popped up. So the infield is back, the outfield straight away. Dodgers have Ellis, Uribe, and Ramirez. They got a big break when Ryan Howard slipped and fell down. Now let's see if they cash in the break. First ball swinger, as you know. Yep. 0-1 to count to Puig. His average now at .420. 7 home runs, 14 runs batted in. One slider after another. You would figure he's going to get a steady diet down and away. Neither team, Phillies or the Dodgers, have done well in bases loaded situations this year. And that's going to go to the hole. Base hit on an 0-2 pitch. 2 runs will score. And the Dodgers take the lead back 5-4. Thank you, Yasiel Puig. 0-2. He fully extended and pulled the ball into left field. So a big hit, And Charlie Manuel making the long walk out to the mound. Ball is out there, and look at that. Extending the arms. He is so strong. Most guys couldn't pull that ball that far, but he can. And the Dodgers have taken a 5-4 lead. So that'll be all for DeFreitas, and we'll be back. First, a runner at second, and they go over and have a little chat with the third base coach, Tim Wallach, while the Phillies make a pitching change. Look at the pitch way outside. He extends his arms and pulls the ball. Earlier this year, I think he would hit that ball to right field. But this time he pulled it through the hole, drives in 2, and the Dodgers turn it around to lead 5-4. So Puig is at first, Ramirez is at second, Adrian Gonzalez will be coming up against left-hander Antonio Bastardo. He's from the Dominican Republic. Bastardo with the Phillies since 2005. We mentioned earlier he's inherited 7 base runners this year. 2 have scored. So we'll see what he does trying to extricate Philadelphia from a tough spot. Down by 1, 2 out and 2 on. And Gonzalez 1 for 3 at the plate. Single to right, struck out, fly to left. High fly ball, very playable. Revere is calling, and that'll be that. However, that is Puig. His base hit to left field on a pitch way outside gives the Dodgers a 5-4 lead. They led 3-0, 3-1, then it became 4-3 Philadelphia. The Dodgers now lead 5-4. Time to answer the Twitter poll question: should Bruce Bochy select Yasiel Puig for the All-Star game? Well, the other night, I think it was 83% said yes. Tonight, 90% say yes. And, of course, tonight he has that no-ball, 2-strike count base hit to left field to give the Dodgers a front. As far as the Philadelphia bullpen is concerned, they've lost 23 games on the road, and they're on the edge of losing 24. But we still have a ways to go. Hanley Ramirez, who batted for Greinke, stays in the game at shortstop, and J.P. Howell will take over in Punto's spot. At the plate, Ryan Howard, and of course Big Howard falling down on the bunt by Punto was a huge play. Otherwise Puig never gets up. Howard has flied out twice, hit into a double play. Punto playing out at second base, and that's ball one. So if you are keeping score, put Howell in Schumacher's spot as Punto moves over. 1 ball and no strikes. They load up the right side of the infield. Ramirez on the other side with Punto and Gonzalez. The outfield straight away, and Puig very, very deep in right. Can't be more than 10 feet from the track. One ball and one strike. Foul back, 1-2. Dodgers 5 runs, 6 hits. The Phillies 4 runs, 12 hits. One other note. We were talking about that 0-2 pitch to Puig and how he reached for it, and instead of going to right field, actually pulled it for the base hit. That's his first hit since he arrived in the big leagues on a no-ball, 2-strike count. And Howard on a breaking ball goes down. So the big man goes 0 for 4, and we have 1 out in the 8th inning. Dominic Brown, a left-hand batter, coming up.
Now batting, left fielder Dominic Brown.
Dominic Brown, a very aggressive hitter with his 21 home runs. He became the first player in Major League Baseball history to have at least 10 home runs in a calendar month without a walk. May of this year. So he's up there to hit. And ball one. The difference where Ramirez played on the other side of second with Howard, he's back to his position at short. One ball and no strikes. Just low, ball 2. Dodgers led 3-0 in the first inning, then 3-1, then it was 3-3, then the Phillies led 4-3. Now the Dodgers lead 5-4. Two and 0. And ball 3. Dominic Brown led off the second inning with a home run. He has led off an inning 8 times now where he's hit a home run. They might let him swing 3-0. They've allowed him to do that 6 times so far. Make it 7. Dominic Brown with Delman Young, who is 3 for 3 on deck. Ground ball speared by Gonzalez. Spots the throw in time. 2 down here in the 8th inning. And the batter will be Delman Young.
Right field, number 3, Delman Young.
Dodgers would teach, and that was a perfect throw. they would teach their first baseman to try and throw right at the pitcher's chest. Mattingly's coming out to make a change now as Delman Young ready to come up, and that's exactly what Adrian Gonzalez did. So 2 out in the 8th inning. Dodgers go to the bullpen. JP got his men, and we'll be right back. Greinke went 7 and was charged with 4 runs. Howell came in, made 9 pitches, got 2 outs in the 8th, and now it's asked Belisario to get a big out, Delman Young, here in the 8th inning. Delman Young, single to left, single to center, single to left again. Young, however, was picked off second base in the 2nd inning. He did make that fine catch on the long ball hit in the right field corner by A.J. Ellis. So Belisario charged with a big moment here. Fastball grounded by the diving Uribe. So for Delman Young, all he does is go 4 for 4. And that'll bring up Kevin Frandsen.
And next third baseman, Kevin Frandsen.
The Young putting on a hitting clinic. The Phillies have 13 hits for 4 runs. The Dodgers have 6 hits for 5 runs. Delman Young does not have a stolen base, and they're going to put a runner in for him. They'll have to check him.
Pinch running for the Phillies, number 15, John Mayberry.
John Mayberry. So Mayberry running for Young. Check Mayberry's numbers as far as running is concerned. He's stolen 5 out of 8. And a strike. Frandsen walked, flied to right, single to left. Carlos Ruiz, the catcher, the veteran catcher, who it seems always gives the Dodgers a bad time. He's out on deck. 1-1. So Frandsen trying to extend the inning and let Ruiz come up and have a shot. One ball, one strike. One and 2. The cloud over the ball game for the Dodgers, the fact Arizona won. So they must win in order to remain 6 back. Maryberry holding, and strike three swinging on Franson. So no runs, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts in the 8th. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 5-4 Dodgers. Quickly to look at Major League scores. Arizona knocked off Washington 3-2. That snapped a 3-game losing streak for the D-backs. The Mets turn it around and beat Colorado 3-2. And Chicago gives Milwaukee a bad time and beats them 7-2. Here the Dodgers in a once in C4 kind of a game. 5-4 Dodgers, and it'll be Kemp, Ethier, and A.J. Ellis in that order.
Hitting up the bottom of the 8th, center fielder Matt Kemp.
Antonio Bastardo made just 1 pitch when he came in and released to face Adrian Gonzalez. Now he gets Kemp, Ethier, and A.J. Ellis. Bastardo is 27. He'll be 28 in September. Fastball for ball 1 came in at 91. Kemp doubled in the first inning right over third base and struck out the next 2 at-bats. Fastball whacked into left field for a base hit. So he came in with 2 91-mile-an-hour fastballs. Kemp connects with the second one, and Matt now is 2 for 4. That'll bring up Andre Ethier. Bastardo is very, very tough against left-hand hitters. In fact, last year he held left-hand batters to a 169 batting average. Andre Ethier against Bastardo, 2 for 7. Tonight had a big double in the first inning to drive in 2 runs. Since then, flied to left and grounded to short. 5 runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers, 4 runs, 13 hits for the Phils, who will have Quintero or Ruiz and a hitter for the pitcher, and Ben Revere in the 9th. Talking about the 9th, Kenley Jansen, who worked 3 in a row, had 1 off. They're going to bring him back in for the 2nd in a row. And that's ball 1 to Andre Ethier. Belisario made only 5 pitches to retire the side, giving up a base hit, but striking out Kevin Franson. Fastball fouled away. 1-1. Last year in 7 meetings with the Phillies, the Dodgers won 5 of the 7. They did it the hard way by winning all 4 games in Philadelphia. 1-1. And ball 2. Bastardo has a reputation of being a fly ball pitcher. A.J. Ellis on deck. Fly ball pitcher. He's allowed 2 home runs. 2-1. And popped up. It'll be Franson in foul ground. So he faced 3 batters, and he's got 2 balls in the air and 1 hit.
Dodger catcher number 17, A.J. Ellis.
A.J. Ellis coming up, robbed of an extra base hit and a run batted in on a great running catch by Delman Young. Fouled out to Young. Last time up in the 7th, walked and scored one of the 2 runs that turned the game around and put the Dodgers out in front. Matt Kemp with 1 out, drawing the throw. A.J. Ellis, no previous at-bats against Bastardo. Ethier was 3 for 8 until he fouled out. There goes Kemp. And he has stolen it. I'll tell you one thing, and the catcher, Quintero, looks over in frustration at Charlie Manuel. He had no chance for one reason. Bastardo really almost wound up. And so Kemp got a big jump. And you could sense Quintero's frustration just watching his body language. As if to say, how do you expect me to throw a guy out when you take all that time to deliver the pitch? 1 ball and no strikes to A.J. Ellis. And that's low, ball 2. On deck, Juan Uribe. Two balls, no strikes. Fastball. 2-1. That was 92. He has a good fastball, a slider, and a change. Bastardo, pretty good move hiding the ball, so it gets on top of the hitter pretty quickly. Two and one. Yeah, Kemp was moving around a little bit. Two balls and one strike. Time at the plate. Utley can't really bother Kemp. Jimmy Rollins was on the rim. The Mets going to third. And the pitch outside. The throw. He is safe. So Matt Kemp stole second and now steals third. And the Dodgers have a chance to pick him up and go into the ninth leading by 2. Got a good jump. Bastardo appears to, he doesn't have a quick delivery to the plate at all. And Kemp is in there easily. So Matt steals second and third. The infield now moves up halfway. 3-1 pitch to A.J. Ellis. High fly ball into right field. Going back to get it is Mayberry. Now he comes in to get it. Kemp tags. Here's the throw up the line. He'll score. And the Dodgers take a big run and make it a 6-4 lead. And Matt will really get a hero's welcome in the dugout. Fives all around. So quite an exhibition. Kemp singles, steals second, steals third, and then A.J. Ellis does exactly what the book says, namely that Bastardo is a fly ball pitcher, and the Dodgers get the run. So A.J. did a big job, and here's Uribe. The biggest play in the 7th inning is when Uribe bunted. Ryan Howard came down the line, and his feet went out from under him. Uribe was credited with a bunt single, and the Dodgers scored 2 to turn the game around. 1-1. So Bastardo gives up a single, and it turns out to be a run. 2 stolen bases and a scoring fly ball by A.J. Ellis. 1-1. For Matt Kemp, who figures to torment Charlie Manuel and just about everybody else when he's healthy, he is now 9 for 9 in stolen bases. Fouled away. We'll repeat in looking at the lineup card. Humberto Quintero, the catcher, is due up. We know we're going to see Carlos Ruiz, and then it'll be Ben Revere. But first, Bastardo has to get out of the inning. 2-2. And pitch up and away. Uribe strikes out, but Kemp and A.J. Ellis. Kemp a steal at second and third. A.J. picks him up, and it's 6-4 Dodgers. By your Southern California Toyota dealers. By Time Warner, enjoy all the things you love better. 1-855-WANT-TWC. And by Farmer Boys. Get an award-winning Farmer's Burger topped with farm-fresh veggies, cheese, bacon, and avocado. It is 6-4 in favor of the Dodgers. The big hit provided by, yep, you guessed it, Yasiel Puig. It happened in the 7th inning on a no-ball, 2-strike count. And even though the pitch was away off the plate, he extends the arm, grounds it into left field. 2-run score. That made it 5-4 Dodgers. And then Matt Kemp single, stole second, stole third. A.J. Ellis fly ball got him home. So it is 6-4 Dodgers in the 9th. And Ruiz will come up. We figured sooner or later Carlos Ruiz would be seen. Michael Young on deck. Ruiz, the veteran catcher, in the strike, 0-1, as Kenley Jansen tries to save another. Ruiz hitting .273, but he's only been in 23 games. He was banged up. 0-1. 1-1. Ruiz was suspended for 25 games. So he's up here late in the year as far as a major league player is concerned. It is the 80th game for Philadelphia. That's a strike. 1-2. It is the 78th game for the Dodgers. So Ryan Howard, Dominic Brown on the railing. Howard, of course, feeling badly not only about going 0 for 4, but about falling down on the bunt. 1-2. Fouled away. Ruiz in his last 17 games is hitting .333. Coming off the suspension, he was 2 for 20, but he's now swinging a good bat. One ball and 2 strikes. High fly ball down the line. Ethier coming over to the line in foul ground and makes the catch. 1 out in the 9th. A reminder, Dodgers Live coming up after the game.
For the Phillies, pinch hitting number 10, Michael Young.
Now Michael Young will come up and bat for Bastardo. Michael Young, you may remember, spent a long time with the Texas Rangers. He's had a tough time. He is grounded into 15 double plays, but he's also a first pitch hitter. Ball 1. He has 21 hits going after the first pitch. In the month of June, he's had 29 hits, 15 infield hits. Michael Young. 1-1. So Delman and Michael. Michael Young from Covina went to the University of California, Santa Barbara. And a drive into right. Puig on the dead run. Catches up to it. So 2 out in the 9th inning. The Dodgers are 1 out away from winning 6 in a row. The last time they won 6 straight, September the 25th, to the early days in October last year. Matt Kemp having that great inning in the 8th. Single, stole second, stole third. He also doubled in a run. And A.J. Ellis had that clutch fly ball to pick him up. So here's Revere. And ball 1. Ben is struck out, singled twice, flied to left. He was cut down on a busted hit and run play in the 3rd inning and scored a run. 1-0. Pulled on the ground into right field. So it's a base hit for Revere. That would be his 3rd hit. That's also the 14th hit for Philadelphia.
Second baseman Chase Utley.
And now Chase Utley, the veteran who has hurt the Dodgers tonight. He has hurt them throughout his career. Tonight he has a single, a double, and a home run. Utley takes one look to Ryne Sandberg, and Rick Honeycutt says, wait a minute, let's go out and talk about what we try to do with Utley. Opening night for Philadelphia was in Atlanta, and Chase Utley hit a home run. It was the 200th home run of his career. Since then, he has 8 more to give him 9 home runs, and he is always a threat His home run was a line drive. Puig crashed into the right field wall. Utley thought it was an extra base hit, and he went racing. Puig hits the wall, and Utley doesn't know. He keeps on running. And then finally, rounding third, they broke the news. Slow down, pal. It's a home run. Yeah, he was surprised. Puig, who just crashes into that wall twice now. But that's history. This is the moment. Revere will probably run, and the Dodgers will let him go with a 2-run lead. The old defensive indifference. There he goes. Utley takes a strike. So Revere at second base. But that's how important Matt Kemp's run is right now. Utley hitting .277, 9 home runs, 28 runs batted in. 0-1. Fastball, strike 2. Chase Utley going up against Kenley Jansen. Interesting combination. Utley 1 for 1 in the pass. Oh, and 2. You know, when Matt Kemp stole third, it's the 18th time this year. Excuse me, 18th time in his career he stole third in 25 attempts. 1 and 2 to Utley. Who's the all-time leader? Oh, sure, Ricky Henderson. He stole third 322 times. Kenley Jansen with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. 2 out. Revere at second. 6-4 Dodgers in the 9th. 51,000 here. 51,037 to be exact. 2-2. Crowd groaning on every pitch. Kenley Jansen this year, his strike to walkout ratio is 9.5 to 1. Kenley has walked 6 and struck out 58. 2-2. Fastball fouled away. That's at 95. Utley just putting the bat on it. That was his base hit in the 5th inning. Ball was away, and he just took almost a half a swing, like in tennis, and lobbed it into left field. So A.J. and Kenley put their heads together trying to figure out how to get out one of the better hitters in the game, Chase Utley. Utley, by the way, at Dodger Stadium is hitting better than .308 in his career. He's hit 6 home runs here. 2-2. Two balls and 2 strikes. Cracked bat, I think. Foul ball. Sounded cracked. Yep, it did. We'll have to get another. Deuce is wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. A runner at second, and the Dodgers lead by 2 in the 9th. Dodgers trying to get above 500 against Eastern Division teams. They're 8-8 for the moment. All right, new bat, same old Utley. 2-2. Ben Revere at second base. Two balls, 2 strikes. Overthrowing, trying to get a little extra, and actually not throwing as hard. Easier, he was throwing 95. That time it looked like he was really trying to throw hard, and it was 92. So Ben Revere, like Paul, ready to go. Big pitch now. 3-2, 2 out. Dodgers lead 6-4, ninth inning. Foul back. How about Utley as a contact hitter? He has walked 18 times, and he has struck out 31. 31 in about 200 plate appearances. He's battling. This will now be the 9th pitch to him. 3-2. And a line drive caught by Adrian Gonzalez. So the Dodgers have won 6 in a row as Utley lines out to the Gold Glove at first. For Kenley Jansen, he had to work very hard. He made 19 pitches in the 9th inning. For Kenley, he made 23 pitches last night, so that's pushing it for a reliever, but he got through it. And of course for Utley, always a tough out, and he is robbed on the play at first base by Adrian Gonzalez. So Puig got a no-ball, 2-strike outside pitch and pulled it into left field to give the Dodgers a lead. Kemp then steals second, third, and AJ picks him up with a fly ball and put it all together, and the Dodgers have won 6 in a row. Tomorrow night, Chris Capuano will try to keep it going against John Lannon. Then it'll be Hyun-Jin Ryu going up against Cliff Lee, and the finale, the final game of what sure figures to be an exciting series, and the Dodgers will have Stephen Fife go up against Kyle Kendrick. A reminder, stay tuned for Dodger Live coming up next. Good night, everybody.